do a little video here I just watched. I think his name may be Anders. I think his YouTube thing is Wood, W-W-A-D, or Woodwad or something. But he was just talking about Wizards and how he DMs for them, plays them, would play them. So I just thought I'd chime in and tell you my experience with GM and for people with Wizards, or even just aspects I like. First off, don't really play Dungeons and Dragons, play GURPS, and through there, the first thing that's kind of different is you can use your fatigue points, which are, I don't know, it's a stat based off strength, I think. But there's a large pool of them. You have more of them than your other stats. Your other stats are kind of low. But fatigue, you can have 60, we'll say. And out of these fatigue points is how you can cast your spell, how strong you can make your spell. So it's actually physically affecting you. Like, sure, you can cast some little ones all the time and you're going to be able to get that fatigue right back up because it's not really wearing you off. But if you wanted to put off a big blast of something, then it would just drain you and all of a sudden you'd be pretty out of it. So I like that aspect. And they also bring in aspects of having magical flasks, we'll say, of putting power in these flasks that you can take out and use for your magic. So you can carry around a little power stone, I think they call them, around your neck. Maybe take the power from that stone and use it. And later on you can put more power back into the stone so that you don't have to physically use your stamina. You can use a magical stamina, which gives you power. But then I'd like, at the end of Anders' video there, he brought up having components to your spells and whatnot. He gave this great example of, I think he said the spell was called Spider Climb, but somebody needed the spider and they were looking around like, oh, but they find the closest insect to them and it was a cricket. So they pop the cricket or use the cricket in whatever way their spell asked them to, and it changed the spell a little bit. It still was an insect that can climb on the walls, but some aspect of the cricket is now going to be in that spell. What it could be, I'm not sure. That's left up to the spur of the moment game improv thing. But that's a good little edge, good little keep people on their toes to bring in these components and have them change the spells. You have to be pretty good on your improv to be able to come up something on the fly. But if you can keep that up, I'd say go for it. And you can also bring in these components to maybe help people not use as much fatigue in their casting of spells because they're actually using ingredients which are making the magic, and it's not coming strictly from their body but more from the knowledge that they've gained by adding this thing to this thing. It's actually going to make a magical effect. So you can give people pluses and minuses if they don't have the components to these rolls, if there are rolls. It's a little different in GURPS. Sometimes you roll to actually conjure the thing, or you're rolling to conjure and to shoot the thing off. And these components can just be a nice thing for the player to be aware of, to have them always be searching for. So it's like this manic wizard always searching on the ground for, oh yes, I found another one. And another thing Woodwad said there was the memorizing spells, and you can only use these spells once a day, and this I have to completely disagree with. I really don't like this aspect. I like the aspect of having only a certain number of spells, but using the one spell for a day and then never not being able to use it for the rest of the day seems ignorant to me. Why would a wizard not be able to use this spell that he knows and can cast? Why can he only use it once a day? I do say the wizard needs a grimoire, a big old spell book he carries around with him. He can look through his thing and maybe write down new spells and new ingredient combinations, and he only really knows those ones he has. Or if he really wants to go off the wall, can try some spell that he's just heard of and try and just conjure it out of nothingness and maybe fail completely and summon some dark god or whatnot, or destroy himself or a party member. But now we're getting a little off topic here. But the wizard's had training in these spells and has them written down in his nice book. Why is it so difficult to cast a spell over and over? You have the fatigue points, which mean you can't just go pew 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 all the time, but to say, oh, I let off my purify food spell so that we can survive and eat some in this cave, but we're getting hungry towards the end of the day and we need to eat again, but too bad, I already used the spell. It seems pointless to me. Why would you not just be able to use that other spell again? But that's the only thing really I wanted to mention, that daily use of the spell should be throughout the day, not once a day. Components for spells, even rituals, not just components, but maybe the wizard has to go through a ritual. You can work this very easily into game mechanics by adding pluses or minuses, depending on maybe the person's role-playing aspects. If they just get all up into it and chanting and walking around the table, well, man, don't even let them roll. Just say, okay, your spell goes off. It does pretty good, whatever the effect is. Or or if they choose not to, give them a flat roll, give them a minus if they needed components, if they've been using components throughout the game and now they finally have run out, give them some minuses. Make them be aware that their magic is iffy, and that magic is something that's pretty special. So, there we go, my little bit on wizards there. Well, I don't really play wizards all that much, just to bring that information out there.